Romans chapter 11 goes back to the theme of chapter 9, that God is sovereign and he can choose who to love, who not to love, who to favor, not who to favor. And so the whole issue about the remnant of Israel is covered. Just look at chapter 11, verse 1 to 5. I asked then, did God reject his people? By no means. I am an Israelite myself, a descendant of Abraham, from the tribe of Benjamin. God did not reject his people whom he foreknew. Don't you know that scripture says in the passage about Elijah, how he appealed to God against Israel? Lord, they have killed your prophets and torn down your altars. I'm the only one left, and they're trying to kill me. And what was God's answer to him? I've reserved for myself 7,000 who have not bowed the knee to Baal. So, too, at the present time, there is a remnant chosen by grace. And if by grace, then it cannot be based on works. It is he. If it were, grace would be no longer be grace. So we are learning the Israelites are not rejected so that Gentiles can come in. Even themselves, they are still welcome. And they are still part of the Christianity. Christianity is not a Jewish religion, but it's not a Gentile religion either. It's everybody. It's God coming now, not to use Israel as an exhibit that would help people to know who Jehovah is. But now, in the New Testament, the book of Romans is explaining, he has come now to use anybody of any tribe, of any nation, who accept by faith the sacrifice he gave on the cross. They now become like a new tribe, a new Israel. And those people can come from Israel, or they can come from among the Gentiles. All of them are very, very welcome. So, Israel is here to stay. It's not that Gentiles replace the Jews. Both are very welcome. Of course, there may be a lot of failures, and many of them have rejected Christ. But still, God has his remnants. You know, in verse 1, Paul is talking about remnants to show God still has not given up on Israel. But the word remnant means they are not many, but they are still there. So you can't say the whole tribe is rejected when they are still remnants. And that's something that's important. History shows that even in previous wars, God will leave a remnant. Like during the times of Ahab and Jezebel, they had so adulterated the land that the worship of God was no longer tenable. But even at that time, we have the prophet crying, oh, they have killed everybody. I'm the only one left. Oh, your people are finished. Anybody who worships you is gone. No, he's told, God tells him no. Of course, the fact that you don't know does not mean they are not there. I have 7,000 of them who are still preserved. They are my worshippers, and they are preserved. You know, it's a lie of the devil when when he wants to get you in, he says, everybody falls. Ever heard of the story where young girls are told there's no possibility of being a virgin by the time you are getting married? No, it doesn't work anymore. Virgins are gone. And they make you think like, because everybody is doing it, therefore it will be done. No. There may be one or two in a community who are still committed to chastity and will be virgins by their wedding day. What that means, they become a representation that even the ones who have fallen could have come in. Just like the fact that they are remnants, like Paul himself says, I'm one of those remnants. He is a Jew, a Benjamite, but he is a Christian. To prove to all other Jews that Christianity is not against Jews. And I don't know which area you yourself are also going through, where the devil is whispering, nobody does it that way. Maybe it's in corruption. Your country is so corrupt. You can't do business without corruption. So you have reached a level where if you can't beat them, join them. No. So that idea that nobody's doing it. The story of Elijah will tell you that it is not true. It is certainly not true. Elijah is saying, this is the information I have, but God has greater information. So never end up in sin because you felt like everybody's doing it. Everybody doing it is not an excuse that you do it. They are always God's remnant who have not sold their clothes in sin. They are not doing the things that that other people would want to do, and that's a very, very important thing to think about. It's the same thing with that, and in my life I had that kind of impression that by the time I'm a manager, have you ever had another manager who is born again? And sure enough, there wasn't. I was the first person on the rank of manager in where I was working to be born again. I said, it doesn't mean all managers have to be non-Christians. Here I am. I changed the formula. God has his remnants at every level. So we can say all politicians are evil. But God has his remnants among the politicians. Why? So that the politicians that are evil are unable to say that it's politics that have made them evil. Because they will be pointed, what about so-and-so? He's a politician like you. He doesn't bribe, he doesn't talk lies, he tells the truth. And yet he was elected. So if you are evil, don't give politics as an excuse. There are remnants. And again, I repeat, the word remnant means there are not many. There are remnants. But the fact that they are there clearly tells you that it is possible, it can be done. And I think that's a very, very important thing. So, what is it? In which area are you feeling like the Christianity can't work here? If that's what you are feeling, it means that you have gotten to that thing of everybody's doing it syndrome. Please remember, you're not everybody. There's a standard that God has kept, God has set. Your work is only to keep, not to question it. He has set a standard, and your job is to keep it. So are you going to say, because it's so difficult to keep that standard, I'll drop the standard? Or because everybody else is not keeping the standard, I'll not keep the standard? Or would you like to be unique and do the things nobody's doing for the glory of God, but also so that you set an example, so that that majority can continue doing the evil ways they have chosen, but they have a testimony that they are doing evil. Maybe they have spent all their time trying to say how really things cannot be done that way. The question is, but what does the Bible say? What is the message? And will you change and start doing things that are wrong because of that? Will you change and compromise because of that? So, verse 5 is saying, so, too, at the present time, there is a remnant chosen by grace. In other words, among the Israelites, there's a remnant. And they are not coming because of their ability to work it out. They are coming because of God's grace, God's choice to favor them. That's how they also can become Christians, exactly the same way as Gentiles. And that will be something that you need to be aware of. Then in verse 6, he is saying, and it is by grace that it cannot be based on works. If it were grace, it would no longer be grace. He is the one who will protect the remnants. Why? Because of his grace. Nothing that they deserve, but because of his grace. So the Jews may be a remnant, they'll be protected. The others may not see the value, but does the Bible see the value in it? Let the Bible be our standard, not the circumstances that we find ourselves in. That will be something important to deal with. Verse 7 to 10 says, "What then? What the people of Israel sought so earnestly, they did not obtain,